that you can get a clear.
I've collected 500 billion, and I can only show you a borehole.
It's politics.
For me, it is what I call Iberberism. I beg your pardon. Go and search for it, my friend.
It's current affairs.
4 years course, metamorphosing into 6 years.
And news that
Affects you.
What an academic academic yo in their leadership rococo, leadership brababare.
it's all the serious stuff.
But with a light-hearted twist.
I'm Sandra Ezekwesili.
And I'm Aghogho.
Join us 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. every weekday
Right here.
on Hard Facts.
Hello, Lagos. Good afternoon. I am Sandra Ezekwesili, and these are your hard facts.
Shaku Maku, everybody, all the way from Sandra's village to Lagos. It's been a wonderful week, record-breaking week. I thought I was the only one who noticed it until I saw it on Obama's tweet. You know, and Obama wrote together. It was a big weekend for the Africans.
I see.
You know, world record smashed in marathon. Because Guy, the Kenyan guy, did it under 2 hours, liking it to being on the moon for the first time. You know, there was also the gymnast. Sandra, did you do some gymnastics?
Which one? Simone Biles?
Yeah, Simone Biles has
Okay.
entered the record books now. You know, and then this other one, my favorite tennis player nowadays. You know, I've left the Williams sisters now. I'm now with the girl. I'm now with a
younger
lady,
girl.
a long girl called Coco Gauff.
So you prefer younger women, huh?
No, I like Coco Gauff. I mean, she's young. She just epitomizes, you know, she's younger than any other person who's won an ATP. So she won that. So, and they're all Africans, you know, and all of them women, save for the guys. So
And
it
there's
was a
also
big-
the Nobel Peace Prize to the president of Eritrea as well. So
Yes.
it was a great weekend for black people.
That was for the women mainly. You know, 4
I
women in all.
Well,
breaking
equality.
the
Notice
records,
the
you
women,
know.
notice the men as well.
Yeah. You know, when we do, well, the guys did well. Nigeria played a 1-0 draw with Brazil. You know,
Is that good?
it's good. It's great for where we've been in the past.
It's good to be back with you after the weekend. We have a lot to catch up on, as well as
the floods took Sandra's house away from where it was located.
No, it's still there.
Oh, back?
No, yeah, we're back now.
Okay,
We
thank
have
goodness.
surfaced. We've got news matters just arising. It's important to not miss hard facts. Seriously, Aghogho and I bring the best insights to you every day on the most important topics. We break them down for you, and we bring them to you. We give you the facts, and you can form an informed opinion. Last week's shows are on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Nigeria Info FM. We've got a great show today. We're starting with the big three. Governor Sanwo-Olu talking tough again. He's announcing a drive to fix bad roads. That particular announcement has everybody in Lagos talking. And the big three is stories that everyone's talking about, really. Amnesty International says 119 Nigerians on death row in Malaysia may have not gotten justice. And IKEDC signs a contract to provide some areas with 24/7 power for a higher tariff. Sounds interesting. What's on Checkpoint, Aghogho?
Well, on Checkpoint, we're staying also with Amnesty International. Amnesty International just released a report, which is of great concern to everyone. It's a report on assault on freedom of expression in Nigeria. So what it's done is catalogued a number of instances where journalists, bloggers have been attacked by state authorities, either harassed, intimidated. You know, and the list is an impressive list. It even includes our own Kofi Battles, you know, who was,
Harassed by SARS
you
in
know,
Port Harcourt.
yeah, in Port Harcourt. You know, that did grab the headlines. I remember that will be on Checkpoint. I'm going to be speaking with the executive director for Amnesty International Nigeria, Osai Ojigo, during that hour.
It's great. And we will be speaking with Sean Igbide at 5 today, because we want to look at calls to scrap the Senate and switch Nigeria to the unicameral system of legislature. It will be interesting. So tune in at 5 if you have to be somewhere else. And then we will wrap up with I Beg to Differ. As usual, throughout the show, we're bringing you the latest updates from the world of news, sports, and entertainment. And we've got IJ standing by because she's at Celebration and she would like us to speak to a number of important people. So we're going to try and squeeze that into the big three today. It's a packed show. We told you there's a lot to catch up on. So stay right here and let's get started off with the big three.
This is The Big Three
The Big Three on Hard Facts
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
You know what to expect on the Big Three, stories that everyone is talking about right now. How hopeful are you about the governor's road rehabilitation plan? What should the federal government do about Nigerians on death row in Malaysia? And how much more would you pay for guaranteed 24 hours electricity? We'll get into the stories as soon as we connect with IJ, who is currently in a Keja celebration. Have you ever attended any celebration exercises?
I've been to the New Africa Shrine
a
number of times. I've also been there to cover some stories when the reports have happened. It's such a great atmosphere. Just before we came in, I was listening to all the background tunes of Teacher Don't Teach Me Nonsense, Fela's song, which is incidentally the theme for this year's celebration. And a number of big personalities have been there.
Wole Soyinka, Chimamanda Adichie.
Yes. A number of things. And it's always attracted, the big guys in the literary world. And somehow over the years, they've been able to attract a lot of people from also outside the country also to help share and talk about his influence across not just Nigeria, Africa, and the entire world.
Europe
is huge.
As well,
Europe, And there's also the big, I was listening to Colin Teke's show on the Afrobeat and the debate on what exactly is Afrobeat or not. I hear a story about when Fela was asked the question what he thinks about his music being called Afrobeat. And he said, "Na the Oyiboma we don't understand this kind of music, call them Afrobeat. So, call it something like higher." I'll ask Rotimi Sankore about that, but that's what it has done. I mean,
why
Fela,
Rotimi Sankore? Is he an expert on music?
Oh, he's an expert on Fela.
That's a good one.
I should get on I'm sure he'll hear on a laugh. But that's the kind of impact Fela's had across not just the politics. Caught different people who go to the shrine, not your usual party goers. Emmanuel Macron was there the other day.
Yes, I know.
And he told us he used to sneak out of the French embassy years ago to go listen to Fela. And then now that he's president of France, he thought it would be a great idea to compare
to come
notes
and visit.
Mm-hmm.
When he was here, there was an opera singer who sang in Pidgin. Did you catch that? It was really, really good. We're streaming this conversation on Facebook, and you can also watch IJ, who's at Celebration today. Ijoma, hi. Welcome to Hard Facts.
Hello, good afternoon, Sandra.
Good afternoon. We hear you are having a swell time at Celebration.
Yes, I am. It's been a wonderful day today. Okay. I must tell you.
Okay.
It's been a wonderful day at the Celebration Symposium today.
Okay.
We have Chimamanda. We have a whole lot of people coming around to talk about issues that concerns Nigeria. Right. And one of the issues that was raised had to do with teacher not teach me nonsense. And we could remember that, yes, of course, Fela himself, the legendary, sang a song on teacher not teach me nonsense. That was the topic for the day. And all the people, the personalities that came on board spoke on why everything that Fela sang about has come to play, and they're calling on governments, they're calling on even individuals to change the way they talk, the way they think, the way they do things. And later on today, there is going to be a video on our social media handles on when Chimamanda was talking about sex for tape. Okay. She spoke on that. She also spoke about feminism. She also spoke about the decadence in Lagos State and the flood and everything. We're going to be having more of that later in the day on our social media, medias. And one of the other issues that was raised by his name is called Bobby. It's Bobby Wine. He's a freedom
from
fighter.
Uganda.
Yeah.
From Uganda, yes. A lot of people would have heard of his story on how he started. He said he started singing as secular music and singing about sex and all that. But later on, decided to switch. He said after he listened to some of Fela's musicals and read about him, he decided to become an activist. To use his music to change the way people talk, the way people do act, the way even governments react to people. And he also made mention of the fact that 4 days ago he was attacked. He was almost assassinated in Uganda. He brought to the forefront on why and how Nigeria has always been a country that they have been humiliating. So coming here today and hearing about the issues that people rose concerning governance and the people, he said he is shocked because out there, other African countries still see Nigeria as a giant, and they want that to remain. And he also spoke on the fact that he said when our leaders have become misleaders and mentors have become tormentors, when freedom of expression becomes the target of oppression, opposition becomes our position. So he spoke eloquently well on how and why things must not remain the same and why things must change. And Chimamanda, yes, who is also our own, she also spoke on a whole lot. If you can, our listeners know that she's an award-winning writer, and she has done a lot in her own books. On the issues, on the fact that we should patronize Nigerian goods. We should wear Nigeria, speak a dialect, and don't allow history to be forgotten. She made mention of the fact that it is painful that people think our opinion that she lives abroad. She said no, that she lives in Lagos and she breathes Lagos, she breathes Nigeria, she does everything, almost that she visits. She only visits all these other countries and comes back to Nigeria. It's that most of the things we have include, and everything, nobody to speak out anymore compared to what Fela was doing during his reign when he was. Part of the issues today was people should come up, they should stand up and speak up. And another issue that she frowned against, and including Sefi Atta, she's also a writer. She found out the fact that most people, yes, of course, Fela, during his time, he was talking about issues that speaking against government and not taking money from them, and he was living his life like every normal human. Theater. She was on the young people, young talent. They claim to be Afrobeat singers, but they claim that they are riding on Fela's glory. But everything that they do, they breathe and they do, does not speak of what the man lived for and for. Yes, what he stood for. So these are many others they spoke on, and challenge young people rise up. But the big Fela of this generation, not still talking about Fela that has
passed on a long time ago.
Yes.
All right,
but
IJ.
they want to stand their right.
Yeah.
And though even in the face fear and in the face that they should stand up and speak up. And revolution. Fela was also on
IJ, the line is breaking up there, so it's difficult to hear you. But we've heard the major part of the gist, and we're going to get back in touch with you to see what else you'll have for us eventually. Is that okay?
Okay, that will be fine.
All right, IJ, thank you so much. IJ's at Celebration having a swell time. Aghogho and I have to be here in the studio telling you the big stories of the day. We're not complaining. We'll rather be dancing at Celebration, but we plan to go for Saturday's big event or Sunday's big event. Is it Saturday or Sunday, Aghogho?
Every day is a big event.
At Celebration.
But the good thing is that this space, the events, there's somewhere in Freedom Park where they're going to be having one of the days. I think I'll find some time to just
stroll in. We should go together.
Yeah,
and then we'll tell people what day we're going so they can come over and say hi and take pictures. Let's get into the big three after this break.
Stay right here on the Big Three on 99.3 Algeria Info. This is the Big Three
The Big Three on Hard Facts.
on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Like we said on the big three stories that everyone's talking about right now, and what's bigger than Governor Sanwo-Olu saying, let's start on these roads? How hopeful are you about the governor's road rehabilitation plan? And what should the federal government do about Nigerians on death row in Malaysia? How much more would you pay for guaranteed 24 hours electricity? Our first story, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has declared an emergency on Lagos roads and is set to launch a massive rehabilitation program today. His Chief Press Secretary, Boyega Kosile, tweeted the decision yesterday, and the governor mandated 8 construction companies to mobilize to site today and to begin the work on major highways and link roads, while the Lagos Public Works Corporation LPWC has been instructed to rehabilitate 116 inner roads. Now, the major roads set for rehab include the Ojota stretch of Ikorodu Road, Kudirat Abiola Way at Bombo Highway, Babs Anima Shon Road, Agrikishaw Road, and Ijede Road, and parts of Lekki Ekpe Expressway. Aghogho, these are some of the roughest roads in Lagos, and I'm impressed with myself about how much better my pronunciation of these names have gotten. A few months ago, I would have murdered a lot of those names.
Yeah, so if you, I'm sure you recognize the roads that Sandra has mentioned now. If you live in around any of those areas, I'm sure people would have whatever gizmos they have to, for evidence and documentary, to go and look at what is happening there beginning from today, according to the Public Works Corporation. The roads mentioned also include Maloney, Boshere, Lagbata, Inward Leventis, Ogudu Road, Akpongbo. Okay, Sandra mentioned Akpongbo already. I see Adeniji Adele also is included. And these are all major areas. And you're right, some of the roughest roads you will find. But I dare say there are worse, most of them in the inner roads, I guess, covered in the 190. But and something also people are going to be looking at, because I thought also to going by what has happened in the last couple of days, when this rains began, things have gotten worse. So some of the roads they did before, maybe it's the poor quality of work that was done, or the suddenness of the return of the rains has made some of the roads that they had worked on, especially the inner roads, left in the worse for wear state. Hey,
but if you work on roads and you work on them great, they shouldn't spoil in the space of 3 weeks.
And to make matters worse, areas I've had the complaints happen, especially around the Lagos-Badagry area, is some of the good part was scraped off, and then this one was put up there, and so it's worse than what it was before. If my mind runs back, just before the governor declared a state of emergency, I've been thinking about how bad the roads in this state have been. Maybe just when the military moved capital to Abuja, that period running into when Bola Tinubu was governor, when Lagos was characterized as a dustbin state, to the charging of the state executive then and try to do some quick work. But that time and now, I don't know which is worse, but now looks really bad, I guess, because of, you have more people. In fact, I had an argument online saying, what was the biggest cause of traffic on the roads? Is it the poor maintenance of the roads, or is it the way people drive? For me, I think that's number one reason. It has to be the state of the road that has caused traffic problems in this state. 2
weeks ago, the governor came under some fire for his comments that he was sworn in during the rainy season. And so, to quote him, bitumen does not like rain, so nothing could really be done about the bad roads until the dry season. A lot of Lagosians didn't like that statement and interpreted it as a hollow excuse. Some people said rain doesn't stop road works in other countries, but others agreed with him. And they pointed out historically, most governments wait until the dry season to work on roads. And now the governor has ordered work to begin. And I find it very interesting that the governor is using LPWC for over 100 inner roads. LPWC is the Lagos Public Works Corporation, and they're a government agency whose job is to do civil engineering work like construction of roads, bridges, drainage. Now, because LPWC is a government agency, they don't need to be awarded a contract or paid any money beyond their salaries. So using them to repair roads is far cheaper than using private companies. And there are many analysts who suggest that it would be more efficient to increase the capacity of public works corporations and use them for major road construction than the current system of contractors. And we wonder what you think about that. What do you think about this new initiative to repair our roads? Do you agree with the governor's initial position or disagree that rain and bitumen are not friends? I'd like to hear from civil engineers on that one. And which roads do you feel should be added to this emergency repair list? Are you close to one of the listed roads, like Aghogho asked? Can you see any mobilization to site by the construction companies? 012770993, 012771993, and 012772993, as well as 012773993. There's WhatsApp and Facebook where we're streaming this conversation. So leave us comments on Facebook. We'll take them right now. Facebook is Nigeria Info FM, and WhatsApp is 080-959 75805. I almost forgot that number there for a sec. Kelechi is in Lekki. Hello, Kelechi. Thanks for calling us. Good. What time is it? Afternoon.
Sandra and I just thank God for all of you now. For the but coming back to the information that governor gives declaring emergency on this road.
Right.
Nigeria have enough money to build up this road. If anyone in Lekki tell you the ordeal they have passed throughout this week, you will not believe it up till now. But I see no reason why continually every day they will continue promising before the election. Getting down to police station at this here, they pour the whole grass and every rubbish on the road in order to make people to believe that they will build the road. Up till now, if I tell you what people have been passing through, it's only God that will help us in this country. But then they want us to perpetually continue until when another tenant come, and which is too bad. If we follow it up, we will clap hands for them. Thank you so much.
All right, Kelechi, thank you so much. Femi Insulere says he's seen some drainage under construction. So hooray, yes?
Yeah, hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Femi.
Yeah, okay, so I just drove around Aghogho right now, and I saw that they are trying to clear the drainage. You know, the Aghogho road is really bad. So I saw it with my eyes. You know, 2 or 3 guys, they are clearing one huge drainage. I saw some, I was like, wow, we are so dirty in this country.
I wonder when they will get to TBS, Tafawa Balewa Square. That place is like, well, it's interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
During the rainy season.
Yes.
I don't know who we elect, you know, as, can't we think innovatively? There was a very, very bad earthquake or typhoon or something that happened last 2 years in Japan, and a major road was fixed under 2 days.
Right.
2 days, a major road. Governor said, "What are you hearing? They don't have better brains than we have now." And then you come out and say such a very embarrassing thing, and then you embarrass yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Femi, thank you for calling us. That boy is Nalausa. He says Aghogho Motor Road is in a terrible state. Thanks for calling us, Datbo.
Hi, Sandra.
Hi.
Okay, and Aghogho. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Please
okay, so the list you mentioned, I was surprised. Aghogho Motor Road is not included.
Among the major expressway.
Yes, it's not included.
No, it's not included.
That road is terrible. They need to do, especially before you get to Ikeja along. There's this pedestrian bridge, not completed, but there are like some, I won't call them potholes, they are craters. And that backs up traffic all the way to Ikeja along. In fact, it's even terrible for people trying to turn from Airport Road to link the same road. We spend hours on this road every day. So if the relevant authorities are listening, please, just include that portion of the road, and life will be much better for a lot of people.
All right.
All right, Dad. Well, thanks for calling. Let's move on to our second story. You can still comment on the first one if you want to when you call us to react to the second one. Amnesty International says Malaysia should scrap the death penalty for drug convictions. The recommendation came in a report titled Fatally Flawed Why Malaysia Must Abolish the Death Penalty. We're discussing this because there are currently 119 Nigerians awaiting execution in Malaysia after drug trafficking convictions convictions. According to Amnesty International, in an overwhelming number of convictions, the Malaysian authorities did not give the defendants adequate access to lawyers and other resources for their legal defense. This casts in doubt the credibility of the convictions. Given these uncertainties, Amnesty International is suggesting that the humane thing to do would be to abolish the death penalty. 119 Nigerians, Aghogho.
Huge. The numbers are huge. And overwhelmingly, the percentage of Nigerians, over 90%, who are incarcerated in prisons across the world, most of them are for drug-related offenses. But why it's really painful for countries like Malaysia, many of Southeast Asian countries, as well as with Saudi Arabia, which also has the death penalty, we say capital punishment for drug-related offenses, is because of this thing that most times they don't have access to legal representation. In fact, many times the Nigerian diplomatic outpost is not aware of what is even going on. Sometimes they will go around and eventually find out that these people had to go through trial and did not understand the charges that were read before them.
We don't know if these people are guilty or innocent.
Because the legal proceedings happen in a language which is foreign to them throughout the entire procedure. And most of them pled guilty, not knowing that, and this has happened. Maybe with the situation that happened in Saudi Arabia, where we thought it was mission impossible to get anyone who was on the death row out of it, and it happened for the young lady who had drugs planted in her luggage. In
Saudi Arabia.
We could have a large chunk of the numbers of people. Last one I remember for Malaysia was in 2013-14, even though with the international argument, not just a Nigeria problem, but even with other nationalities
as well.
They could not make any headway with that. I've heard some reports they're trying to lighten the burden, but we don't know. There are a couple of guys who fortunately found themselves in this things. People have told me if you're flying to Malaysia, there's the announcement before the plane will touch down the airport that if you have any drugs on you, kindly go into the restroom. We're going to turn our eyes the other way, and we will not see it. And some of them who did suddenly realize the dangers they were involved in, it happened. But that's another discussion. But the real problem here is with the rights of these 119 Nigerians. Many of them, I dare say, like Amnesty has pointed out, that so the baton's all over to the Nigerian government. What can we do to get them out?
And assuming Amnesty International is correct, and some or most of these 119 Nigerians are innocent, the big question becomes, whose responsibility is it to get them freed? If the Malaysian government refuses to review these cases or abolish the death penalties, what can Nigerians and the Nigerian government do to investigate these matters and provide assistance to the ones found innocent? Some countries have legal officers in their embassies abroad, and part of their job is to look into the cases of any of their citizens being charged for a crime, especially crimes that involve the death penalty. The idea is to make sure the citizen is given a fair trial and their rights are not trampled upon. So, does the Nigerian government have a duty to make sure Nigerians abroad get fair trials? That's a question we're asking you today. What should Nigerians' response be to this report that 119 Nigerians are on death row in Malaysia, but that the system that put them there is not transparent and could be convicting the innocent? You can still comment on the roads story when you call us 01277 0993, 01277 1993, 01277 2993, and 01277 3993. You're listening to Hard Facts. This is the Big Three, and we've got Darlington up first. Hello, Darlington. You think the governor made an excuse?
Yes, he did.
Good afternoon.
Because if you are telling us that you were inaugurated during the rainy season, that means Las Vegas wouldn't have constructed the third mainland bridge.
Okay.
Because under that bridge is a body of water. And I didn't hear that they dried the water before constructing that bridge. So that excuse is a no-no for me.
Okay.
But beyond that, this road that have gone bad now, Sandra, were they not constructed by former governors? Were they not?
They were.
Good. How come they have gone bad just under one rainfall? How come? You mean there was no quality job done and nobody has been called to account. This road we are just constructed now. The former governor that they say Lagos is a working state, is a center of excellence. What then did they do? If under one rate Lagos can turn into a slum, then what has been the past governors been doing in Lagos State?
But you know, Darlington, how they say a stitch in time saves 9 and little drops of water make a mighty ocean. So many of those roads you think were done nicely already had cracks in them. You know, and then gradually we looked at them and day 1, day 2, months, and later on, you know, wear and tear happened. So I don't necessarily think those roads were in great condition ever. They just were not properly maintained. I give you a good example, darling. Look at Inner Marina and Outer Marina. You know for how long those potholes have been developing, and day in, day out, public holiday will come. Those roads were never maintained throughout those periods that we had free time.
If we have a quality job done on those roads, Aghogho, they cannot go bad in this manner. That is the truth.
I agree with you, Darlington.
That is the truth. So this one that is doing emergency now, what is the conviction that in another 4 years somebody will not come in here and tell us that Olu did not do anything?
Darlington, good question. Let's talk to Olu in Ota, who says we should take it easy with the governor. Why, Olu?
Actually, on the issue of this road, you see, when we are comparing ourselves with the advanced country, Nigeria is not an industrialized nation. How many of these tools and equipment do we produce in Nigeria? So if we say those ones,
we have sand in Nigeria, we have gravel in Nigeria.
Sand, yes, but what of the chemicals that makes the cement? All these things are being imported. And you know, our dollar, well, the main problem we have in Nigeria is issue of corruption. And the best way to first of all tackle it is that this issue of restructuring, because the federal government is taking too much on itself and they don't want to let go. So I'm not saying the government of Lagos State will not do its job, but if we look at the competing issues, we talk about unemployment, health is there, so many things that are competing with the fund. We are only saying Lagos State is rich, Lagos State is rich, but when they pay the workers, they do all those things. We know that there are some of these things that they will also, that some officials may take to themselves, if need, because Nigeria itself, everybody is talking about corruption. But when we are talking about comparing ourselves with advanced countries, we are still far ahead. Let's get restructuring and anti-corruption out of the way first. Then we can now see whether these people want to do their job or not. But meanwhile, it is still good that we are shouting on them. Because if we don't talk now, we will not say we want to roll out some things to work. But I don't know whether those rules will still last. God help us.
Thank you, Olu. It's not God that will help us or Nigerians. I've told you a story about that. I'm going to keep repeating that story until we get it. Paul in Apapa says the governor should please wake up. He's been asleep for too long. Paul, thanks for calling. Julius Omobobola says Awayaya axis is a nightmare for motorists. He says he's wondering if the governor lives in Lagos because the concern of the taxpayers isn't being felt. Monday Hysen says, please tell Lagos State Governor that Alakija to Navy Gate is too bad and Satellite Town is too bad. Nowhere to put legs. All right. Our final story might be some good news if you're willing to pay for it. Ikeja GRA will now have 24 hours electricity guaranteed. This is because the area has signed a bilateral agreement with the Ikeja Electricity Distribution Company. Now, under the agreement, the power company will provide uninterrupted power as well as dedicated customer care and technical teams, while the neighborhood's residents and businesses have agreed to pay a premium tariff higher than the tariff agreement that it allowed under NERC's new willing buyer, willing seller policy. Now, this new rule, this new agreement, which liberates the market and allows discos and consumers to find each other and agree to private terms, is something that is allowing the residents at Ikeja GRA do this particular thing. Remember that 2 months ago, was it? Magodo Estate also entered a similar agreement with IKEDC. Aghogho, I always ask, are you ready to pay more if it means that you're going to get more power? And I guess for Ikeja GRA, the answer is yes.
Well, that's why it's GRA. Maybe they're just trying to get their, it's unfortunate. The places that were considered, the elitist parts of town are becoming slums nowadays. So I'm shocked when I hear Ikeja GRA. It will be jubilating. Ikeja GRA, cool. These were the places for,
Those are the main money places, huh?
Yeah, for the big boys and girls back in the days. But now we'll have to clap our hands that they can get uninterrupted power supply. But by and large, I'm shocked. I've listened to a number of, media polls going on how people think about electricity nowadays, and it's improved. Surprisingly, even their area, I'm not sure people really want 24-hour uninterrupted power supply. I think they want at least if they can see power when they get home, when they sleep at night, when they get back to do stuff. I think they'll be fair with that.
So what happens to unemployed people? They should not have lights. What's your problem?
Don't get a job, man. I can't
students who are home from school.
Because come to think about it, many people who are working are not home for most part of the day.
But Nigeria's unemployment numbers are humongous. So we have a lot more people at home than at work.
They're on the streets, actually.
We also have students who have returned home on holidays. Yeah. What happens to them? They don't deserve light?
They're on the streets. Most of them are looking for hustling on the street.
You're thinking like a poor man, Aghogho. We deserve 24 hours power.
No, not necessarily. We deserve. I deserve to see power. Let me speak for myself. I want to see power when I get home. I want to see power anytime I'm at home. Unfortunately, I'm more at work than I'm at home. But that period, and most working Nigerians are at home. At work more.
But that's where the prepaid meter comes in.
Yeah, exactly.
If you had a prepaid meter, it wouldn't matter whether you're home or at work. Even your appliances off.
Even in the so-called the abroad, they don't have their power running all through the entire day. You want them to run bankrupt. They put off when they're not around,
Yeah, but they leave the major things on, like the fridge, which would mean that I'm not cooking all the time.
The neighborhoods, they switch off major lights during major parts of the day so they can take light to other areas. So
what are you talking about? Which place? Which abroad? Do that?
Yeah, in New York, in Lower Manhattan, there are certain parts of Lower Manhattan you're going to see electricity. I wonder what's going on. What? And they say they're conserving electricity. In many of the major hotels there, they say, for example, we conserve electricity, don't do X, Y, and Z. Because they're all for climate change
but
and all of that.
But there is electricity.
Yes, there's electricity. Yes, so that's what I'm saying. This idea of 24 hours electricity that we must have. No. We need to conserve energy.
Do you agree with Aghogho?
Yeah.
Because with this, their new willing buyer, willing seller policy, NERC is saying to the discos, you don't need to sell power at the tariff. If you can find someone willing to buy electricity at a higher rate, go ahead. And so far, they are finding people. I'm talking about the Gencos and the discos. First, you've got Magodo Estate, now Ikeja GRA. And I've heard that there are a few estates in Port Harcourt who are having the same negotiations with PHEDC. And so far, Magodo Estate is very happy with the amount of power they're getting. So I wonder if, if you had a prepaid meter, would you be ready to pay more for power that you currently pay for if it guarantees you more power throughout the day? Or are you like Aghogho and you don't care? You don't want 24 hours power. It's no longer a what if. I mean, you've seen it in Magodo, now Ikeja GRA. So would you be willing to have this as well, but you just have to pay more? 01277 0993, 01277 1993, 01277 2993, and 3993. Should they put your area into consideration? Would you pay more? Chooks in Aja, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well.
Hello?
Hello, welcome.
Yeah. In fact, I use a prepaid meter, and I've been enjoying the prepaid meter because, in fact, they are something to give me light now. So the struggle, if there's a problem in their infrastructure, quickly they come and mend it because they know they will not see money to pay their workers. So let's leave that one. The road is the most important, the paramount issue now.
Okay.
I'm telling you, Sandra, the whole stuff is in shambles. We should tell the truth. and we keep on saying it. Most of your program on this throughout the last dispensation last year has been on roads. You've done a lot of analysis. You have made many people have made a lot of suggestions. And we have said that our roads are overstretched. I'm telling you that we'll continue to shout. We continue to. The basic truth is that we have so much that the road can contain, unless we really focus and encourage the government on alternatives, which are rails, which are waterways. I want to tell you, articulated vehicles, let them do roads. Every day, in all 3 months, articulated vehicles, they will put potholes there. Because asphalt and salt water, they are not fresh at all. So those are the issues.
The issues are the roads, not the lights, Chooks says. All right, Chooks, thank you so much for calling us. Everybody else who's called as well. We love that you called. Keep it here. Checkpoint is up next. Leave us comments on Facebook if you couldn't get into the live show. And on Hard Facts, let's talk some more about reports from Amnesty International. That's coming up on Checkpoint.
Hard Facts will be right back.